Hey there, Grace Point family. It is week number 67 in our GPRead program. And this week you're going to be reading from 5 different Bible books rather. Now, why would you be reading from so many books? Well, it's because the events spoken of in these books or recounted in the narrative books are events that were all happening at the same time. And we are doing a chronological reading of the Bible. So we're trying to get a view of what was happening in that time and place and how it was approached in God's word from different viewpoints. We have some Psalms, we have some historical accounts from Second Kings and Second Chronicles, and we have 2 prophecies, one from Habakkuk and one from Jeremiah. Let's walk through them real quickly. Now, in Psalm 74, you're going to get some lament sort of psalms where the writer is lamenting the destruction that is coming, how God is bringing it because of the disobedience of the people. In Psalm number 79, you're going to hear another lament where the shame of God's people and the mockery of the nations are highlighted, and the importance of confessing sin and repenting are on the forefront of this psalm. And divine justice is highlighted as coming for the sins of the people. Now let's switch over to Second Kings for a moment. In Second Kings, you're going to see the actual events that are being talked about in that psalm, where various kings are rejecting God and being punished as a result, where the Babylonian nation led by Nebuchadnezzar is coming in to conquer the city of Jerusalem and take people away into captivity. And a vassal kind of a king, a puppet king, Zedekiah, is placed into the land to oversee the area, but he's not really a good guy either. So in 2 Kings 24 and 25, you're going to see that. You're going to see some rebellion by Zedekiah, the puppet king. You're going to see the remaining destruction of the city. It's just a very sad situation that's happening there in the people. Now, in Second Chronicles, you're going to see some of the same sorts of things, even the same people, recounted from a different author's viewpoint. You're not going to see anything that's contrary, but you may get a little more illumination in reading Second Chronicles as you read about what's happened in the land and why it's happened. Now, when we get to Habakkuk, you are going to hear Habakkuk crying out about the injustice that's going on in Judah. So, in other words, the kind of sinful things that are happening that are eventually going to bring God's judgment. And Habakkuk is crying out to God on behalf of the people, saying, God, the leaders and others are doing such wrong. Please come and do something about this. And God responds, telling him the Chaldeans, the Babylonians, the same people, are coming to bring judgment. And in Habakkuk, chapter number 2, is where we hear a famous phrase. It's quoted again in the New Testament. The righteous shall live by faith. And it's the emphasis on putting our faith in God rather than in ourselves. And that really is at the crux of what has happened in Judah. The people have turned away from God and gone to their own devices. Now, in Habakkuk chapter 3, you're going to see a prayer by Habakkuk and a vision that God gives to him, where God is talking about his intervention in history and how he will bring about salvation in the proper time, in the proper ways. And then finally in Jeremiah, you're going to see a recounting of some of those same events we read about in 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles. You're going to hear about survivors that exist in the land and also in the land of Babylon. And you're going to hear about how this surviving remnant in the land gathers near Bethlehem, rather. The people are going to seek guidance from various places. You're going to see a rebellion against the word of the Lord again, and then judgment that comes on the people of Judah and also on those who have escaped to Egypt for escaping to Egypt, and they're going to be judged there as well. Friends, it's a sad chapter in the history of God's people, seeing God's judgment come. Continue reading Proverbs as well, gaining that wisdom for everyday life so we, unlike the people of Judah, can live wise lives obedient to the Lord. Love you, friends. Talk to you again soon.